As is widely known and commonly accepted, the ukulele is the greatest instrument to have ever come into creation. Icons and hipsters alike have gravitated towards the mesmerizing sounds of the ukulele. Wouldn't you want to be included in an exclusive group that includes him or her? It's hard to say whether these people were already brilliant before they learned the uke, or if their genius is the result of their having learned the instrument. What can be said is that there is value in learning to play, even if it's a less venerable instrument than the ukulele. Technology and the internet have made learning to play music accessible to anyone who can afford to buy their instrument of choice. As a result, there is value in looking at the different approaches available. The following is a comparison between two different styles of learning an instrument through the internet. The first is information processing, where a lot of previous information is assumed, and there is a focus on retaining facts. The second part is a more dynamic approach, which focuses on embodied cognition, but includes observational learning as well. So I am going to work on a song by Weezer called Island in the Sun on my ukulele. And I'm first going to start with a screenshot of the chords needed for the song. And how the chords match up with the lyrics. So I have 5 chords, which I already know. E minor, A minor, G, G, C. Those all sound right. They sound like they fit into the song and that I have the right notes. And that's it. I am not an advanced learner, so outside of knowing what the chords are and how they fit in with the lyrics, you also need to know what the strum pattern is. And if you know ukulele enough, you can figure out the strum pattern. I have absolutely no idea what the strum pattern is. This is not listed here. I have no idea how to proceed with this. There are some basic strum patterns, so I could start off and see if the strum patterns kind of match up. I could kind of try hit or miss and see how that works. So E minor. That doesn't sound like the song whatsoever. So this is where I am. I'm not really sure what to do about it. There is no more instruction on how to play this song. Now I'm going to watch a tutorial on YouTube about how to play this song.
In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to play the song Island in the Sun by Weezer on ukulele. The first chord is an E minor. My ring finger in this case is actually serving 2 purposes. It's holding down the number 3 string on the 4th fret. It's also gently touching the open number 4 string, so it's muting out this number 4 string at the same time.
So I'm going to make note of all the chords, and I'm also going to practice along as he mentions the different chords. They're not written down anywhere where you can see what the chords are that he's teaching, but I am going to make a note of them myself.
And muting out the open number 4 string. And then an A minor held up here. So that's different from the other A minor that I showed you that's held right here. And this A minor is played during the bridge. Okay, here's here's how the strum pattern goes for this song. All you do is a down, and then you do another down, but it's kind of I either call it a light chalk or a muted down strum.
Now he's talking about the strum pattern, which is actually the most difficult part of the song. It's a really unusual strum pattern that I've never experienced before, had or encountered. So I need to make pretty extensive notes as I'm doing this, and I write down all that he's telling me and how to transition into each different part. So I'm going to practice along as he's talking about this a little bit. So
the strum pattern for the bridge is very similar. It's just so I'll play that real slow.
So I'm going back a couple different times and catching up on things that I might have missed, or practicing again until it sounds right to me.
There is another way that you can play this if you would like. You can use a chuck instead of a muted down strum. By chuck, that's where you strum all the strings with your fingernails of your strumming hand while muting it out at the same time with the palm of your strumming hand. For example, this is an ukulele chuck.
So he's given me the chords and the strum pattern for the verse. So I'm going to practice that a few times because that's new to me. So at this point, it's just practicing and just kind of getting the feel of how it works and if it's sounding correct. At this point, I do feel pretty comfortable in what I'm supposed to do. I know the different parts of the songs. I know the chords. I know the strum pattern. So it's just a matter of putting them all together or practicing. I mean, it just takes practice. So I feel really comfortable with it, and I am just going to put some more time into working on the song. The big insights I had with this project were less to do with what I learned from each of the two techniques I used than my surprise awareness of the two techniques I was actually using. As often happens, my expectations did not match up to my reality. The section about information processing came out as I had anticipated, but in the part that I thought I was using mostly embodied cognition was only one of the many overlapping techniques. But let's first quickly look at the result of using a single web page in information processing to learn a song. As you can see, with the limited knowledge that I had, I wasn't able to construct all the parts of the song, and hence wasn't able to learn it. It was frustrating, and I credit this tool as one reason it took me so long to learn to play ukulele at all. On the other hand, the second technique was useful in multiple ways. I originally thought that I had learned mostly through embodied cognition, with a tactile sense of where my fingers belong being the focus of how I learned. However, there's also an element of information processing because I'm remembering what the different keys are and where my finger placements belong, although there was clearly an element of observational learning since I was keying in onto what sounded right to me compared to the video tutor. This is when I felt the most like I had learned something. I was also learning from someone. It might not have been interactive, but I wasn't reading notes in a book. I was learning from someone that organized and taught in the medium of a video posted online. Although the theory of overlapping waves comes from a perspective of child learning, I can make a good case that this was what was happening in this instance with me. I started with observational learning, which included information processing, then threw in some social cognition, and then added a touch of embodied cognition. I think this is closer to how most learning happens. On the surface, it seems to be one of two different theories, but on closer inspection, many come together.